The MLB's 162 game schedule is the most out of the big four sports in America. The NFL 17 is the least. What if I gave the NFL the 162 game MLB schedule and the playoffs that the MLB has? In today's video, we will take the NFL from 17 games to 162 games and their playoff structure of one and done to the best of 3, best of 5, and the best of 7 in the MLB. So the MLB has two conferences, the American League and the National League, and both of those conferences have 3 divisions. Now, they only have 15 teams per conference, so each division is split evenly by 5 teams. The NFL has 16 teams per conference, the AFC and the NFC, and I had to split it up a little differently. The Central for the American League and the National League will have 6 teams and the rest will have 5. So let's take a look at those divisions. In the American League East, the AL East has the Patriots, Jets, Ravens, Steelers, and Bills. The AL Central has the Titans, Colts, Bengals, Browns, Jaguars, and Dolphins. And the AL West has the Chargers, Raiders, Broncos, Chiefs, and Texans. And then in the National League, the NL East has the Giants, Eagles, Commanders, Panthers, and Falcons. The NL Central has the Vikings, Packers, Lions, Bears, Saints, and Buccaneers. And then the NL West has the Cowboys, Cardinals, Rams, 49ers, and Seahawks, and those are your 2 conferences. And throughout this video, this graphic right here on your screen will be popping up throughout the first 17 games, throughout the mid-season point, and then at the 162 game finale. You will see this graphic pop up 3 times throughout this video as we track the stats. As you can see on the right side right now, you will be able to see which teams stand where throughout all 32 teams, and it will be sorted by, obviously, wins is the first thing. And then if there is a team tied with the same record, it will go to the point differential, which is why I'm keeping track of each team's points for, points against, and then obviously the differential from there. And then as you can see right in the middle of your screen, the divisions are spread out by win-loss, and then the percentage, and then the last 17 games who has the best record. Same thing goes for the divisions though. If the Bears, for example, and the Buccaneers have the same record, it will go to whichever team has the better point differential on the right side. And since we're closely following the MLB, it will have the awards split up just like the MLB does, where you have the American League and the National League both winning the 4 awards that they give out per the conferences: the Rookie of the Year, Manager of the Year, the Cy Young, and the MVP. For those of you who don't watch baseball, the Cy Young is the pitcher's award, so we'll go to the quarterbacks for this video, which brings me to my next point. You rotate pitchers in baseball. If you don't, your arm would be blown up and you would need massive Tommy John surgery. So in this made-up fantasy land of the quarterback being the pitcher in the NFL, we will rotate between QB1, QB2, and QB3, and here is the graphic for that to show you guys how I will be splitting it up. I don't know every single QB3 in the league, so I will not go over every single team's starter, backup, and third string, but as you can see right here, I'll give you guys some examples, which is right here, the 162 game schedule. Highlighted in green is the QB1. The QB1 will be playing 60 games, as I feel like it gives teams a better chance than having it split up evenly. But the QB1 will be playing 60 games. QB2 and QB3 will be playing 51 games. And as you can see right here, it goes QB1 for the first 17. The next 17 is QB2. The next 17 is QB3. And then so on all the way until the end when the QB1 plays 9 games to wrap up the 162 game schedule. And then as you can see, this is the postseason picture right here. I took this straight from the MLB's website and I just changed everything to the NFL to show you guys the American League wildcard, National League wildcard, the National League Division Series, same thing with the American League, and then the American League Championship Series, same thing with the National League Series, and then obviously the NFL World Series 2025. Even though it's 2026, it's still the 2025 season for the NFL, so that's why it says 2025 on there. I'll be stat tracking quarterbacks, running backs, and wide receivers for this video. So the quarterbacks: Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Matthew Stafford, Drake May, Joe Burrow, Tyler Shuck, Jackson Dart, and Cam Ward. Doing it a little differently than the NBA video, where we're going to be sorting by yards per game because they are not playing a full 162 game schedule. It's not fair to judge them based off of their stats, as they're only playing a certain amount of games throughout the video. Running backs and wide receivers, however, will get the full yards, touchdowns, carries, everything will be stat tracked all the way to the end, and I'll just show you guys the graphics for that as well throughout the video. Running backs, I will be stat tracking Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley, Bijan Robinson, Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey, Ashton Jeanty, and Omarion Hampton. Wide receivers I will be tracking is Puka Nacua, Jamar Chase, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Devontae Smith, Nico Collins, Wan'Dale Robinson, Emeka Ibuka, and Teteroa McMillan. So that is everything that I have covered, and we are going to simulate through the first 17 games. All right, so we made it to the end of the first 17 games. Here are your league leaders in passing yards. As you can see right here, Joe Burrow is number 1, and league leaders in passing touchdowns, Joe Burrow is number 1 as well, with Jordan Love actually right behind him. Rushing stats, Kenneth Walker, who I'm not stat tracking today, was the leader in rushing yards and also the leader in rushing touchdowns. And then the rest, as you can see, are following right here. Receiving wise, Puka Nacua leads the league in receiving yards, Wan'Dale in second, and Wan'Dale and Jamar Chase are tied for first with receiving touchdowns throughout the first 17 games. And as the 17 games go, here are your standings. So we see a lot of teams with a 9-8 record tie, but the point differential separates them. So as you can see, the Cardinals have a minus 56 point differential. That's not going to put them ahead of the Packers, for example, with a plus 65 point differential. And then your league leaders in the divisions are the Patriots, the Falcons, the Buccaneers, the Cowboys, the Broncos, and the Bengals are all your leaders in all of the divisions. I'm not going to show you guys that graphic every single time that we go through a season. I will show you guys the best record and the worst record for every single team, and then I'll show you guys that graphic again at about mid-season. I'm going to do the 85 games because it's easier for me. It should be 81, obviously, because 162 divided by 2 is 81. For everyone who dropped out of school, that's how you do the math. But we're going to start the next simulation with the new quarterbacks, as you can see right here, as Jameis Winston for the New York Giants is going to lead the way. Okay, and then here were the stats for every single quarterback who leads in passing yards. Again, is another Bengals player. It's Joe Flacco. And then who leads in passing touchdowns is Michael Penix. Yeah, I'm not sure why Michael Penix was starting this simulation, but it's all right. Jarrett Stidham, Phillip Rivers, Jimmy G were all up there. Yeah, I have no idea why Michael Penix was starting there. That's a little strange. But as you can see, every other team is normal. Mitch Trubisky leads the way in picks, and yeah, that's rough there. Derrick Henry leading the way in rushing yards. However, Omarion Hampton with 17 touchdowns leads the way. Jonathan Taylor second with 16. Receiving wise, again, it's going to be Puka Nacua in receiving yards, but the receiving touchdowns is someone I'm not stat tracking. It's not stat tracking either. It's going to be Puka Nacua with 13. Yikes. And your best team throughout the simulation was the Buccaneers. They are now 26-8 on the season. And your worst team was the Dolphins at 7-27. Let's get started with the third stringers on our simulation here. It will complete the first round of the rotations. And as you can see, Russell Wilson is your quarterback for the Giants, leading the way for the third stringers. And at the end of the simulation, again, it's another Bengals quarterback in the passing yards list, and the passing touchdowns list is Ben DiNucci. On the Buffalo Bills, Stetson Bennett is second with 36 touchdowns, and the most interceptions goes to Ben DiNucci yet again. Interesting. Rushing stats, Derrick Henry leads the way yet again, and also leads the way in rushing touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor second there, Josh Jacobs second in the rushing yards department. And look at that, all the people I stat tracked are in the top. That's pretty cool. Receiving wise, Puka Nacua leads the way in receiving yards again, only 30 yards ahead of Jamar Chase this time, but he also leads the way. Oh, Devontae Smith leads the way in receiving touchdowns as he has 21 ahead of Puka Nacua by 3. And after 51 games, your team at the top of the league is the Patriots at 35-16, and the worst team in the league is still your Miami Dolphins at 13-38. The starters are back in town as we simulate through the next batch of the 17 games. It's already our 4th simulation throughout the games, leading us to 68 games played already. Passing wise, Patrick Mahomes leads the way, 5.1k yards. It's finally not a Bengals player. And Matthew Stafford leads the way in passing touchdowns. And here are your top quarterbacks in those stats as well. Rushing wise, Derrick Henry leads the way yet again. The rushing touchdowns, however, is Jonathan Taylor leading the way there for the running backs, and Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry coming right behind him. Pause. Receiving wise, Rashee Rice, who I'm not stat tracking, leads the way. Puka Nacua breaks the NFL record for receiving touchdowns in a season throughout the 17-game simulation at 24, as Devontae Smith was second for the people of stat tracking at 17, and Jackson Smith and Jigba was third at 14. And those are all of your players that lead the way here throughout the next batch of the games. And now your top team throughout the simulation is the Denver Broncos at 46-22, and your worst team, shockingly, is still the Dolphins at 21-47. But that could all change as we simulate through the next batch of games, which takes us to mid-season. So all the second string quarterbacks take us through the mid-season point. We are now 4 games over the mid-season point. It's easier for me because it splits it by 17 to get it to 85, which would be 5 simulations of the 17 games. So it's just easier for me to do this way. Joe Flacco, with exactly 5K passing yards on the season, leads the way for quarterbacks, and he also leads the way for passing touchdowns. Rushing-wise, Josh Jacobs was first in rushing yards. Saquon Barkley right behind him, for who I'm stat tracking, along with CMC. And rushing touchdowns, Jonathan Taylor led the way, Derrick Henry in second, Saquon and Josh Jacobs tied for third. Receiving wise, Puka Nacua, 1,500 yards, 15 touchdowns. Jamar Chase was second. And then receiving touchdown wise, Wan'Dale Robinson led the way. Obviously, Puka Nacua in second. Now let's take a look at the 85 game graphic right here. This is technically your midseason graphic, because I felt like it was easier to do than chopping it up at the 81 game point. Here we are. The Broncos lead the way in the whole entire NFL at 57 wins, 28 losses, and they have the best point differential at plus 414. Your division leaders are the Patriots, Colts, Broncos, Giants, Packers, and 49ers. And then as you can see over here on the right side, this is where every team stands throughout the whole entire 32 game schedule. The Jets have claimed the worst spot in the league. The Saints right behind them. The Dolphins move up to the third worst in the league. So I think that's very interesting. The Lions have a winning record with a minus point differential, and the Jaguars have a losing record with a plus over 100 record in point differential, which is absolutely ridiculous. The Vikings at 38-47 only have a minus 2 point differential, but they sit at 38-47. So this is a very interesting simulation to see where everything ends up. Teams like the Chargers, the Chiefs, the Rams even, and the Seahawks are not in the playoffs as it stands right now, which is actually crazy to think about. The cutoff is right at the Eagles as the top 12 teams, most likely at least, will make the playoffs. It's going to be 6 from each side, as we saw in the earlier postseason graphic. So we will see what those teams end up being at the end of the simulation. And let's take a look at the stats through 85 games. Starting quarterbacks only played 34 games, so we'll take a look at their stats through those 34 games. The best quarterback throughout the 34 games on the National League side of things is Matthew Stafford. On the American League side of things is Joe Burrow. And then here are the rest of the stats for every other quarterback. So Joe Burrow leads the way in passing touchdowns at 84. Matthew Stafford, however, only has 7 interceptions, the only quarterback below double digits. And then Joe Burrow leads the way in passing yards. Patrick Mahomes right behind him. And then your least amount of touchdowns goes to Cam Ward, only 35, and also has 25 interceptions. However, Tyler Shuck is tied with Cam Ward right now for completion percentage at 57.5. That's really bad. Your least amount of passing yards also goes to Cam Ward, as he is just having a rough stretch of games. Through 34 games, it's not looking good for Cam Ward and the Titans. Running back wise, however, your best running back throughout the simulation through the 85 games, at least technically speaking, I would give it to Jonathan Taylor. Yes, he doesn't have the most amount of yards, but he has 77 rushing touchdowns throughout the 85 games. How could you not give it to Jonathan Taylor throughout these games? You can make an argument for Derrick Henry, who has the most amount of yards at 7.4K. He also has 64 touchdowns. It is a very good season out of Derrick Henry, but I feel like 77 rushing touchdowns on 1,200 carries and 7,000 yards should get you the best running back throughout the simulation. So Jonathan Taylor was the best running back in the American League, and the best running back in the National League was Saquon Barkley. So there is that. And then wide receiver wise, your best wide receiver throughout 85 games. Can you guys take a guess who it is? Yes, it's Puka Nacua. It is always going to be Puka Nacua no matter what. He is the absolute most broken cheat code, honestly, in real life and in the game. as he had 86 receiving touchdowns. He had more receiving touchdowns than there were games throughout the simulation. He has one more receiving touchdown than games. He had 85 games, 86 touchdowns, 7.7K yards on 533 catches. And then the second best wide receiver, you would have to give it to Devontae Smith on 369 catches, his 5.6K yards, but 74 receiving touchdowns. What the hell is going on in the simulation? And then Wan'Dale Robinson in third with 62 receiving touchdowns. That is the exact reason why I wanted to stat track Wan'Dale Robinson, because in the NBA video, he did a lot better than Malik Neighbors, who you would think would do better than him, but I guess the slot guys really come alive in the simulation. So I thought that was pretty interesting to look at the mid-season point. We are going to now go through the next batch of 17 games, taking us to 102 already played throughout this video. So here we are, the third stringers yet again getting their action in this video. Jake Browning and the Bengals quarterbacks, the top of the league. Passing touchdown wise, Stetson Bennett leads the way at 37, Desmond Ridder with 36, Sam Ehlinger with 34, and he also had the most interceptions in the whole entire league. Rushing wise, CMC leads the way in rushing yards, but only had 5 touchdowns and 3 fumbles. What is that stat line? 18 rushing touchdowns for Jonathan Taylor as he leads the way, and Ashton Jeanty is second with 16. Receiving wise, Puka Nacua yet again with the most receiving yards, and you guessed it, the most receiving touchdowns, 22 for Puka Nacua through this batch of 17 games. Actually unreal. Devontae Smith was second in receiving yards, and Jamar Chase was third in receiving yards. Throughout the 102 game simulation, your best team right now is the New England Patriots, 68-34 on the season. And your worst team is the New York Jets. I don't know if they could climb out of the hole of being the worst team for the rest of the video, but they are right now, so we will see if it changes. They are 31-71 on the season, and they are having quite an abysmal season. So starters come back in, and Joe Burrow with 4.7K yards. Again, another Bengals quarterback. That playbook is actually broken. Passing touchdown-wise, Matthew Stafford led the way with 42. Joe Burrow second with 39. And even Brock Purdy got in there at 37. Rushing-wise, Josh Jacobs leads the way in rushing yards. And it looks like Derrick Henry leads the way in rushing touchdowns at 17. Saquon Barkley in second. And then I'm stat tracking Josh Jacobs, who is in third. On, by the way, the most carries, it looks like, in the whole entire league. Actually, Joe Mixon and Travis Etienne got above him. However, he had the third most in the league. Puka Nacua led the way in receiving yards yet again, 1,700. 18 receiving touchdowns for him, 17 for Devontae Smith, and then I'm not stat tracking anybody else that's up there. Jamar Chase was second in receiving yards, who I am stat tracking throughout this video. And then through 119 games, the Denver Broncos are 79-40, the best team in the whole entire league right now. And your worst team is still the New York Jets at 32-87, which, by the way, means they only won 1 game throughout the simulation. Backups are in again as Joe Flacco, 5.4K yards, 44 touchdowns. Malik Willis was second in touchdowns at 36, and then Gardner Minshew had 34. The most interceptions in the league was Jarrett Stidham, playing the game right now, like I said earlier. Hello.
Hi, is this Ethan? Hi, we were calling in regards to your butt plug of the month subscription.
All right, little detour. Rushing stats, Derrick Henry led the way, 1,600. Jonathan Taylor right behind him. Jonathan Taylor also had the most rushing touchdowns in the whole entire NFL. CMC right behind him, tied with Travion Henderson and Omarion Hampton. Receiving wise, yeah, I could have told you it was going to be Puka Nacua. He was only 20 yards ahead of Jamar Chase, though. Jamar Chase still cannot get up there. Receiving touchdown wise, Rashee Rice and Puka Nacua are first. Second is Wan'Dale Robinson. Wan'Dale with 16. So yeah, I made the right choice to stat track him. And then your best team throughout the 136 games is actually the Green Bay Packers, their first time appearing up on the top at 92-44. And then the worst is the Jets, still 39-97, 3 games away from having 100 losses on the season. And we will go to the next batch of games, which will take us to 153 games played throughout this simulation, which is the last time we will see the third stringers in. Very unfortunate. Easton Stick leads the way in passing yards. For the first time in this video, we have seen Easton Stick up in the top list. He also has the most passing touchdowns in the league, tied with Bailey Zappi and Graham Mertz on the Texans. Unbelievable. What a season put together by some of these teams. Rushing wise, Jonathan Taylor, 1,600 yards, 10 ahead of Joe Mixon, led the way. And he also had the most rushing touchdowns. Derrick Henry in second with 20. Christian McCaffrey third with 17. Receiving wise, Puka Nacua, yet again, leading the way in receiving yards. Devontae Smith was third. I'm stat tracking him, so that's good news. Receiving touchdown-wise, Devontae Smith and Puka Nacua led the way with Rashee Rice at 17. Wan'Dale Robinson technically in second with 15. And the last time you guys won't see the rest of the whole entire schedule, the best team in the league throughout 153 games, the Patriots, 101-52 on the season, and we will check it out for the next 9 games of where they will stand. The Jets ended the worst throughout 153 games, 48-105. So it's going to be a surprise for you guys to see how every team stands after the next batch of simulation. So here we go. And here we are, passing yards throughout the 9 games. The final batch of the simulation. 182 games have been simulated for every single team. Patrick Mahomes leads the way, 2.5K yards. Most passing touchdowns is Patrick Mahomes. Brock Purdy in second, and the most interceptions throughout this was Mac Jones, starting on the Browns for whatever reason. Sam Darnold. Rushing wise, CMC led the way by only 20 yards, but he did lead the way at 787. The most rushing touchdowns was Josh Jacobs at 10, and Derrick Henry had 8. So that is that. And then receiving wise, Jamar Chase led the way. Finally, someone other than Puka Nacua, who fell all the way down here. I don't know what happened there, but he is down there. And then 14 receiving touchdowns through only 9 games for Wan'Dale Robinson. Actually ridiculous. That is the 162 game season complete. Now we will take a look at the teams who are in the playoffs and take a look at all the records around the league. This will be your 3rd time seeing every single record across the league. Last time you saw it, this is how it looked, and here's how it looks now. The New York Giants lead the way in the NL East. The Central for the National League is the Packers, and the West, the 49ers won there. On the American League side of things, the Patriots won the whole entire conference. The AL East went to the Patriots, obviously, as well. The AL Central went to the Colts, and the AL West went to the Broncos. So something I thought was very interesting is that if you look at the National League side of things, every single division had 2 teams go to the playoffs. On the American League side of things, only 1 team from the West and Central made it, and 4 teams from the AL East made it. That is ridiculous. But it makes sense when you think about it, because how would a 78-84 team make it, or 79-83 team make it? Okay, strictly based off a record, and the AL East is fucking broken. Yeah, but as you see, the Falcons had the tiebreaker over the Eagles. They had 226 point differential, and the Eagles only had a plus 151. The Giants got knocked down. They had 95-67, but they had plus 189, which actually impacts the standings for the way that I'm doing it. Either way, a division leader was going to make the playoffs. That's just a given. But if the division leader has a worse point differential than another team, then that division leader specifically will get pushed down a seeding, meaning the Giants still get home field advantage for the wild card, but they are not the 3 seed. They will be the 4 seed, and the Rams will be the 3 seed. Yes, it gives less of an incentive to win your division. It gives more of an incentive to score more damn points and obviously win games there. But the Packers clinched the National League Conference, and there were 2 teams from the American League to get over 100 wins, the Patriots and the Colts. So that is pretty cool. And then obviously at the bottom of your screen there, the Jets, the Saints, the Bears, and the Dolphins all had triple-digit losses. The Jets and the Saints had the same record, but the Jets had a way worse point differential. The only team to have minus 4 digits, and actually just have 4 digits in their point differential in general. Yeah, that is a rough season out of the Jets. So what I think is interesting is the Jaguars finished 79-83, but had a plus 109 point differential. And then a team like the Panthers had a 70-92 record, but they only had a minus 52 point differential, which is actually kind of crazy because they had the best worst point differential out of all the teams that had a losing record, which I thought was pretty cool. Or I guess it's a minus point differential, I should say, not a losing record, because that was the Jaguars. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. That was a very cool simulation. your postseason is set like this, where the Patriots will get a bye, the Colts will get a bye, the Packers will get a bye, and the 49ers will also get the bye week. Meaning we have the best of 3 games of the wild card going to the Broncos versus the Bills, Steelers versus the Ravens, Giants versus the Buccaneers, and the Rams versus the Falcons. And we will see all of those in just a second. This is your postseason picture, so be sure to remember this. It will pop up a lot more throughout the video, but I thought that this was a interesting situation that we got going on here. And then we'll take a look at all of the stats for all of the quarterbacks, wide receivers, and running backs. I'll do the awards now, I guess, because you're gonna see the stats anyways. Your National League Cy Young and your American League Cy Young. The National League Cy Young will go to Matthew Stafford, who finished with 259 yards per game, 137 touchdowns, and only 16 interceptions. And then Joe Burrow with 288 passing yards per game, 137 passing touchdowns, and 24 interceptions. And then here are the rest of the quarterbacks throughout the simulation. Patrick Mahomes was very close to winning the Cy Young for the American League. Obviously, needs to cut back on interceptions a bit. He had a very good passer rating, better than all of the quarterbacks here. But he also had the second most passing yards per game. Just the interceptions wise just was not there. And then Drake May actually had 132 passing touchdowns to his name and 25 interceptions. And then Jackson Dart, the only rookie quarterback to go over 100 passing touchdowns, as he had 239 yards per game. Running back wise, your best running back was Jonathan Taylor, 150 rushing touchdowns to Jonathan Taylor's name. 13.7k yards, pretty much 13.8, which was very interesting there. Your second best running back, you'd have to say, is Derrick Henry, 134 rushing touchdowns, 14.3k yards, averaged 88.6 yards per game. And then, yeah, I mean, that's just crazy. The rest of your running backs, take a look at all of them. Omarion Hampton, the only rookie running back to go over 113 rushing touchdowns, also had 10,000 rushing yards, the lowest amount of rushing yards throughout all of the running backs, but still a very good season out of the rookie Omarion Hampton. Wide receiver wise, can you guys guess who your best wide receiver is? I'll give you 1 millisecond to take a guess at who it is. If you guess Puka Nacua, you get a cookie. Puka Nacua, 170 receiving touchdowns. There was 162 games played, and Puka Nacua had 170 receiving touchdowns. He also had 15,000 yards on 1,000 catches, and these are the rest of your wide receivers. 137 receiving touchdowns to the name Devontae Smith, and 129 to Wan'Dale Robinson. The NFC East represent, baby. And your second most receiving yards goes to Jamar Chase at 13.3k. Least amount of receiving yards goes to Nico Collins, 8.2k receiving yards. But the least amount of receiving touchdowns goes to Emeka Egbuka. So very interesting simulation throughout everything. And then we will give you guys the awards now before the playoffs. Your National League Rookie of the Year is Jackson Dart. Feel like that was pretty self-explanatory. The wide receivers in the National League didn't do really good, and the running backs in the National League also didn't do really good, for the rookies at least. That was obvious, I think, coming up there. Your American League Rookie of the Year is Omarion Hampton. His 113 rushing touchdown season definitely earned him that spot. 10,000 rushing yards through the 162 games. He wins your American League Rookie of the Year. I mean, Cam Moore just couldn't get it done. And then wide receiver wise, I don't think I stat tracked. Yeah, I didn't stat track any American League rookies. Your managers of the year go to Matt LaFleur and Mike Vrabel. I thought this was a very funny graphic. I saw something like that for the 2025 managers of the year for the MLB, but I decided to do the same thing for the games here in the NFL simulation. I thought it was a very funny graphic looking at their faces this close. So admire them. Your Cy Youngs, your National League Cy Young, Matthew Stafford wins that one, and Joe Burrow wins the American League Cy Young. And then your MVP of both leagues goes to none other than Puka Nacua and Jonathan Taylor. I mean, it just made the most sense. Puka Nacua had 170 receiving touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor had 150 rushing touchdowns through the 162 game simulation. If it was an MVP of the whole entire league, it would be Puka Nacua without a doubt. But those were your awards. So let's get started finally on the postseason. We'll take a look at our first matchup, which is the best of 3 series between the Broncos and the Bills. So nothing to jump in and show here, as the Bills will win 41-28 in an absolute blowout And I forgot to mention that the teams that have the home field advantage get the home field advantage throughout the whole entire wild card. So they'll play all 3 games here in Denver, Colorado, as we will move on to the next simulation through this, which we'll see the backup quarterbacks come in and play Mitch Trubisky versus Jarrett Stidham, who actually just lost the playoff game to the Patriots. And the Patriots are in the fucking Super Bowl again, bro. And I mean, I'm just going to sim to the next quarter. There's just nothing to show in this game either, as the Broncos are going to just absolutely destroy the Bills 27-3. Mitch Trubisky could not get anything done, and the series is all tied up 1-1. 23-13 is your score with 28 seconds left on the clock, as the Denver Broncos are going to lose this game and get knocked out of the wild card. Sam Ehlinger and the Broncos could not get it done. Ben DiNucci and the Bills do get it done, however. And yeah, that is a rough game for the Broncos as they get knocked out. And the Bills are moving on to the next round. And since the Bills are the 6th seed, they will go on to play the 1 seed New England Patriots in the best-of-5 series in the American League Divisional Series. We'll take a look again at the American League as we will go look at the Steelers and Ravens. And I just had a complete blunder. I meant to watch the end of the game, but I didn't. The Steelers win 20-17. Aaron Rodgers gets it done for the Steelers as they are 1 win away from moving on to the divisional series, and John Harbaugh and the Ravens could not get it done. 2 minutes to go in this game. The backup Mason Rudolph is in. 3rd down and 3. 2 minutes to go. Mason Rudolph sets up, getting hit as he throws it, but he has a man open down the field, DK Metcalf. And Mason Rudolph, 238 passing yards today. DK Metcalf celebrating down at the 22-yard line. Field goal wins the game for this team, but they're going for it all with the touchdown, it looks like. They could just run out the clock now, take a field goal, win the game 9-7. That is a real baseball score right there, and move on in the divisional to play the Colts. Rudolph scrambling, and he's going to get tackled. I don't know what he was doing. He's going to get sacked. He was trying to escape the pocket, it looked like. Didn't. All right, 4th down and 16. There is a minute 21 left on the clock, so the Ravens could go down and tie the game, or win the game, I mean. It's going to be a kick up and good. Chris Boswell makes it a 9-7 game, and the Ravens could march back and make it a 10-9 game and win it with a minute 21 left, a minute 17 left now. We will see what they can do. 3rd down and 11. 50 seconds to go. The game is on the line for the Baltimore Ravens. The series is on the line as well. Huntley has a completion to Isaiah Likely, and Likely's going to get a 1st down. 39 seconds left at the 46-yard line in enemy territory. It could come down to the leg of Tyler Loop. Ravens fans, look away. You don't want to hear that sentence ever again in your life. Derrick Henry running to the left side. He's going to get a gain of 1 inbounds. 32 seconds to go. No timeouts for the Ravens here. 2nd down and 9 from the 45. They need to get a few more yards to get into field goal territory. Tyler Huntley, man, throws it right into the ground at Derrick Henry's toes. You don't catch with your feet, you catch with your hands, dipshit. 3rd down and 9, 24 seconds to go. Huntley evading pressure in the pocket. He's going to go forward for a gain down to the 38, 4th down and 2. They have no time left to set up a field goal attempt here. 12 seconds to go. They need to get out of bounds on this play right here. 4th down and 2. Tyler Huntley lobbing one deep, and it's going to be incomplete. The game is over. They were in field goal range for Tyler Loop, but that's going to do it. The Pittsburgh Steelers move on after a 9-7 victory. Mason Rudolph gets it done for the Steelers, and the divisional round is set in the American Conference. So in the National League, we're taking a look at the Rams and Falcons game. 2nd down and goal from the 1 with 3 minutes and 12 seconds left. It's going to be a handoff to Kyron Williams, who will take the lead for the Los Angeles Rams. And you'd imagine they go for 2 to make it a 7-point game. 2-point attempt here. Stafford drops back, looking to throw it, and he's going to have a completion to Puka Nacua, threading the needle, and they have a 7-point lead. 2nd down and 10 with 24 seconds left for Michael Penix and the Falcons from the 21-yard line. Can Penix get it done? 20 seconds left in the game. Stepping up, throwing it to the sideline. Tackled inbounds, and that might be the final play of the game. And the Rams are going to take a 1-0 lead in this series. Unless a crazy play happens here, it's going to be a throwaway. 4th down and 2. Final play of the game. Hail Mary can still be caught to tie the game. And, you know, anything's possible after the Caleb Williams play against the Rams. We will see what happens here. 4th down and 2, 6 seconds to go. Michael Penix stepping up, throwing it all the way down the field on a Hail Mary attempt, which is going to be incomplete. And that's going to do it. The Rams take a 1-0 lead and move on to the backup quarterbacks. So Jimmy G here with 2 minutes left in the game is trailing by 2 scores. You could chalk this game up, and that is it. The Falcons win 31-17 and survive. It is a 1-1 tie in this wild card. And as I'm simulating through this play-by-play, the Falcons cannot get anything done. There's going to be a 28-18 victory, and the Rams, Stetson Bennett wins it for the Rams in game 3, and they move on to the next round of the divisional playoffs. But here we are, 2nd down and 4, a minute left in the game. Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers. What will he do? He's going to throw it! Has a completion to Mike Evans. Great throw by Baker Mayfield. Again, don't know why they're not running hurry up. 52 seconds left in the game. They're down to the 28. Maybe chewing as much clock off as possible, because if they score a touchdown, the Giants can't do anything with it. I'm not sure what's going on here. 37 seconds to go. Baker Mayfield firing, almost intercepted. That should have been an interception by Drew Phillips. Instead, the Buccaneers live another down. 2nd down and 10. Todd Bowles and the Buccaneers here just narrowly avoided a loss. 2nd down and 10 from the 28. Baker Mayfield throwing, has a completion to Ibuka. He's going to get forward to the 19. Timeout called by Bowles as they are down to the 19-yard line. 30 seconds to go in this game, and the Buccaneers are in the red zone. 3rd down and 1 pretty much for the game here. They have 2 downs to do it. 30 seconds, no timeouts. 3rd down and 1 for the 19. Baker takes a snap. Looking to throw it to the end zone. It's going to be another bat down. Maybe should have been an interception. It was thrown at him. Paulson Adebo cannot bring it in. We're left at the 4th down and 1. 26 seconds left in the game. This is it. 4th down and 1. Baker Mayfield takes a snap, scrambling forward. It's a QB draw up the middle. He's going all the way in for a touchdown. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers take a 1-point lead with 22 seconds left. The fans are dead silent here at MetLife Stadium. They're going to try for a 2-point, and they're going to get it 24-21 with 22 seconds left. It is going to secure your victory, and Baker Mayfield and the Bucs win game 1. A minute 55 left in the game, 4th down and 6. The Giants are up by 7. Teddy Two Gloves and the Buccaneers need a miracle. At the 15-yard line, they have all 3 timeouts, and so do the Giants. 4th down and 6. Bridgewater takes a snap, throwing it to Mike Evans, and he gets it for a touchdown. And the Buccaneers are 1 point away from tying the game, which they're going to at 24. Here we go, 3rd down and 4. Clock is ticking, all 3 timeouts for the Giants. Jameis Winston stepping up, throwing it deep down the field. Had a man open, Theo Johnson. Could not get the throwaway there. 4th down and 4. 61-yard attempt for Chase McLaughlin. 2nd down and 5. 2 seconds left on the clock. The kick is up. 61-yarder. Oh my God. The Giants just got eliminated on a 61-yarder. Teddy Bridgewater and the Buccaneers get it done. Absolute horrific play calling for the Giants on the final drive there. And Jameis Winston and the Giants cannot get it done. The Buccaneers are moving on, and your divisional round of the playoffs is set. So the 49ers and Rams will play each other, and the Packers and Buccaneers will play each other in the National League side of things. And then we went over the American League side of things before. So we're going to take a look at the American League now and see the Patriots and Bills series, best of 5. So first team to win 3 games moves on. And the Patriots will claim game 1 in 27-17. Drake May just beat Josh Allen and the Bills, and will move on to have the first win in the series. So here we are, 10-3, and the Patriots are trailing here with a minute left in the game. Josh Dobbs with a completion. 3rd down and 2. Dobbs has 2 picks today, as Mitch Trubisky and the Bills looks like they might pick up their first victory of this series. A minute and 8 seconds left on the clock. Josh Dobbs on 3rd down and 2. Motioning out Booty. Josh Dobbs stepping up to scramble for it, and he's going to get a 1st down and more, down to the 41. A minute left on the clock. 1 timeout left for the Patriots. as they will be moving forward to see if they can score a touchdown to tie the game. Second down to 10. Josh Dobbs throwing it. Gonna have a completion and out of bounds at the 45-yard line. 37 seconds left. Third down and 6. Josh Dobbs takes a snap, throwing it in. Is going to be incomplete off the head of Kayshon Boutte. Fourth down and 6. Josh Dobbs is going to have a completion. Yeah, he just got it. Oh, I thought he dropped it for a second. Second down and 3 from the 38-yard line. It's going to be another completion to Demario Douglas. He's out of bounds at the 33-yard line. A lot of threes that just happened right there. Second down and 10. Josh Dobbs scrambling for it. He's going to go, and he's going to go sliding down inbounds. That's the game. They just lost 10-3. The series is tied 1-1. And now we take a look at Highmark Stadium as the Bills get the home field advantage for this part since it flip-flops every 2 games. And nothing to see here. The Bills are going to win 24-12 as they have a 2-1 series lead over the Patriots. So here we are. The Bills are 1 game away, 1 win away from moving on to the Conference Championship Series. Here we go. Drake May and the Patriots, 40 seconds left. It's going to be a pitch. Diggs down the field and in for the touchdown on his former team. Drake May celebrating as it looks like this team will advance back to Foxborough to maybe close out the series and win it. We will see what will happen in Foxborough, but the series is tied 2-2 as we now head over to Game 5. And in an absolute slaughterfest, didn't even need to really stop and look at anything here. The Patriots win 30-3, and that will do it on the Bills season. The Patriots are moving on to the Conference Championship, where they will be playing either the Colts or the Steelers. And we'll hop in here. 1 minute, 2 seconds left. Chris Boswell trots out onto the field, as we just saw right there. And Boswell, an easy field goal for him. 1 minute, 2 seconds from the 6-yard line. The kick is up, and the kick is good. And the Steelers will win 20-17 to take the lead over the Colts here in Game 1. Here we are. Mason Rudolph down to the 10-yard line. Takes a snap. 20-17. He's trailing by 3. Hit as he throws it, but he gets it to DK Metcalf anyways. And DK Metcalf is in. The Steelers will take a 4-point lead over the Colts with 55 seconds left and are now 1 game away from eliminating the Colts from playoff contention. Old man Phillip Rivers and the Colts cannot get it done as they lose 24-20. And the Steelers move to Pittsburgh to try to close the series out. And in Pittsburgh, an absolute slaughter like it was before. Skylar Thompson and the Steelers cannot get it done. Riley Leonard and the Colts win 41-24. And the series is 2-1. Steelers still lead. We're back in Pittsburgh for the next game. And in what might be the most boring overtime game of all time, it's going to be a touchdown thrown by Aaron Rodgers. And the Steelers go up 12-6, 13-6 after a PAT from Chris Boswell. And the Colts, with a Daniel Jones, have to go down and try to tie the game up. And we're down to the 1-yard line. Daniel Jones and the Colts. Jonathan Taylor is so out of breath. They're going to hand it to him. He's going to get a touchdown. Will they go for 2 or tie the game? They're going to tie it. I don't know if I agree with the decision. The Steelers get the ball back, but it eventually won't matter. Steelers punt it back to the Colts, and the Colts go down the field and kick a game-winning field goal to tie the series 2-2 as we head over to Indianapolis for Game 5, which unfortunately no point in jumping in as the Colts will win 20-10, and that is it on the Steelers season. The Colts are advancing to play the Patriots in the Conference Championship Series. And we're going to hop in here, 31-24 lead for the 49ers. Matthew Stafford throwing it deep to Puka Nacua. He's going to be intercepted, and that is going to do it. The 49ers are going to win Game 1 here in Levi Stadium. No point in jumping in. The 49ers win 30-10 in a blowout and are 1 game away from moving on. And that is it. Adrian Martinez and the 49ers do it. They will beat the Rams in their own home stadium, 21-10. The Rams go home. The fans are booing in Los Angeles or whatever as Adrian Martinez gets it done. 2 touchdown, 2 interception day. Stetson Bennett with 3 interceptions. Yikes. And the 49ers move on to the championship series. And no point in jumping in here as the Packers are going to beat the Buccaneers in Game 1, 42-24. And here we are in Game 2, 3rd down and inches from the 3-yard line. Teddy Two Gloves and the Bucks or 3rd and inches. Here we go. Handoff. Bucky Irving cannot get there. Oh my God, 4th down and 1 for the game. And they're just going to elect to take a field goal with 1 minute, 10 seconds left. Malik Willis gets a chance. Willis, 40 seconds left. Scrambling forward, sliding down. 2nd down and 7 from the 14. 39 seconds left from the 14. Willis is going to scramble forward, and he's going to have himself a touchdown. You'd imagine they go for 2 to make it a 7-point game, but I don't think it's going to matter, as Willis and the Packers will get the 2-point conversion, and it's a 7-point game, which will close it out. They're 1 game away from moving on in this series to go play the 49ers. 3rd down and 2. The Buccaneers are winning 2017. The game is on the line, and that is going to do it. Desmond Ridder just lobs it out of bounds. 4th down and 2. 4 seconds left. We have time for a Desmond Ridder Hail Mary. He steps up, lobbing it all the way down the field. He got the arm strength for it. It's almost caught for the touchdown, but the Buccaneers survive. They win this game. Unbelievable. And the starters are back in for this. Baker Mayfield can't get anything done. Jordan Love and the Packers knock the Buccaneers out. 26-7 victory, and they are moving on to play the 49ers. So it is set. Patriots versus Colts. Packers versus 49ers. The 1 seed versus the 2 seed in both conferences. Daniel Jones sliding down to the 2-yard line. Here in game 1, there are 5 seconds left. It is a 4-point game. The Colts are at the 2-yard line. They have time for about maybe 2 plays if they're quick. Jones from the 2-yard line. That's it. That is the game. The final play of the game is a touchdown for the Colts. And the Colts take game 1. Daniel Jones gets it done. Here for game 2, no point in jumping in. Phillip Rivers and the Colts cannot get it done this time. And they will move on to Foxborough, tied up 1-1. And it doesn't look like home field advantage matters for the Colts as they lose 29-10 here in game 3. Game 4, the Patriots will win 28-17 and are 1 game away from eliminating the Colts from playoffs. But back in Foxborough, an absolute slaughter, 37-10. Phillip Rivers and the Colts get it done and are only down by 1 game in the series. They're trying to tie it up at 3-3 with Riley Leonard going into the next game. And Leonard takes the game 13-6. The Patriots could not get it done. And it is a 3-3 tie. We're back in Foxborough for game 7. And unfortunately from this series, the only thing I got to show you was the Daniel Jones touchdown, as it has been like pretty much blowout after blowout. And the Colts win 24-13 and are now officially moving on to the World Series, where they'll play the winner of the Packers or the 49ers. And here in game 1 in the National League side of things, the Packers win 28-14 and take game 1. 2nd down and 2, no timeouts for the Packers. Clock is ticking. Malik Willis from the 41 is feeling the pressure. He's going to be sacked. And that's going to do it for this game. The 49ers win 27-20. Series tied up at 1-1 here, and we are back in Levi's Stadium for the first time actually in this series. And the 49ers lose 19-7. The Packers have a 2-1 series lead over the 49ers. Here in game 4 in Levi's Stadium, and it looks like the 49ers are going to blow out the Packers and win 28-17. We are all tied up at 2 going back to Green Bay. 3rd down and 4. Malik Willis firing, and he's going to have a first down. It is going to be a first down to the 44. 4th down and 5. Game on the line for Malik Willis here. Here in game 5, Willis throwing way too high, incomplete. And the 49ers will claim game 5 after a 24-17 victory and are 1 game away from taking it home here in game 6. Back in their own home stadium. Couldn't have been a better script if I wrote it myself, but it was an absolute blowout, 38-3. Adrian Martinez could not get it done this time, and the Packers are moving back to Green Bay to try to close it out. Desmond Ridder gets it done, and the starters come back in for this final game. In their elimination game, they get absolutely blown out. Jordan Love and the Packers do it, 36-17. They win 4-3 in the series, and that is it. The 49ers get knocked out, and the Packers are moving on. Packers-Colts World Series. And here is game 1 of the World Series. 3rd down and 10. 1 minute and 6 seconds left on the clock. Jordan Love takes the snap. Looking to throw it. He's going to have a completion down to the 46-yard line. A minute and 1 second left on the clock. Timeout is called by the Packers. And they're looking to either tie the game to bring it to OT or to score a touchdown to win the game. Here is second down at 10. Ignore the orange line on the right side of your screen. That's supposed to be the field goal target line. They have it on the wrong side of the field. Jordan Love, second down at 10. 55 seconds left. Feeling the pressure. He's going to be sacked for a loss of 13. Third down and 23 for the game. 33 seconds left on the clock. Jordan Love making an audible at the line. Here we go. Third down and 23. Play action. Firing. And he's going to have a completion to Christian Watson. 25 seconds left. Fourth down and 9. Game on the line. 9, 8, 7. Jordan Love looking to throw it deep down the field into triple coverage and incomplete. The Colts claim game 1, 20-17 of the World Series. Here in game 2, not much to show. The Packers win at 20-10. We move on to Indianapolis. Here we are, second down and goal, all tied at 24. Desmond Ridder here in game 3. Throwing, you have a completion down to the 3-yard line. Gain of 10. Third down and goal. 3 minutes left in this game. Third down and goal, just under 3 minutes left. It's going to be a screen and a touchdown for the Packers as they go up by 1 score. So I don't know how we got here, but we're on fourth down and 15. Riley Leonard, completion of Michael Pittman. That is going to sell the game. That one completion right there. I mean, they went for it on fourth down and forever. He had a completion. Everything looked great. It's a great tackle by the Packers defense. And Michael Pittman cannot get there for the first down. And it's going to be game over for the Colts. As they lose 34-24, the Packers lead 2-1 in the World Series. Third down and 15 for Daniel Jones and the Colts. 13-7, they are trailing. 3 minutes and 22 seconds left on the clock. Jones stepping up, scrambling forward. He's going to fumble the football, and it's recovered. Oh my gosh, by the Packers. Yeah, that's Keyshawn Nixon with the recovery, which will end up closing the game out 13-7. The Packers are 1 game away from winning the World Series. So the scoreboard is going to look a little different for the next 2 games, or maybe 3 games, depending on how the Colts do. The reason why it looks different is I want to show the celebration at the end of the game. 10-17, the Colts are trailing. First down and goal from the 7. Phillip Rivers in at quarterback. Going to hand it off to Jonathan Taylor. Taylor's fighting forward and in for the touchdown. We have a tie game here. And the Colts are going to kick a field goal to win 20-17. 3-2 series right now. We're going on to the next game in the series, game 6. And we're going to see if the Packers can close it out or if the Colts can force a game 7. Second down and 2 from the 28-yard line. 6 minutes and 38 seconds left on the clock. Desmond Ridder hands the ball off to Josh Jacobs. Jacobs goes forward all the way down to the 13-yard line. He has 70 yards in today's game. 6 minutes to go in the game. Ridder here on first down and 10 for the 13. He's going to hand it off to Josh Jacobs again. He's going to go for a gain of nothing. So third down and 10. 5 minutes, 35 seconds left. Ridder throwing. Going to have Josh Jacobs open, and Jacobs going to fight forward down to the 1-yard line. The Packers are trying to tie the game up, maybe force OT. We won't know what will happen. First down and goal from the 1. Handoff is going to go for a loss of 3. Second down and goal from the 4. 4 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock. Ridder, play action. He's going to throw it into the ground. Third down and goal from the 4. Ridder throwing, and he's going to have an incompletion. Dobbs cannot bring it in. Fourth down and goal from the 4. Ridder from the 4. Throwing to the back of the end zone to Dobbs, who cannot bring it in. And the Colts get a big break there, looking to force a game 7. So it's at a 14-yard punt return for Romeo Dobbs. Just set up the Packers at the 18-yard line. Not sure what the hell just happened. But the Packers are at the 18-yard line, down by 7. Under 2 minutes left to go. Ridder drops back. Stepping up, throwing it, and he's going to have an incomplete pass. Second down and 10 for the 18. Ridder throwing it. Man open. To catch to Matthew Golden. Third down and 2 for the 10. Desmond Ridder has a completion and a first and goal from the 2. First and goal from the 2 is going to be play action. Ridder scrambling to the right. He's going to get sacked for a loss of 12. And we now have second down and goal from the 14. I'll spare you that play. It was a throwaway. Third down and goal from the 14. 36 seconds to go to tie the game. Ridder throwing into the end zone for a touchdown. Jaden Reed brings it in, and the Packers are 1 point away from tying it, 2 points away from taking the lead if they want to do that, which they won't. They'll like for the PAT. Kick is up, and the kick is good. 20-20 ball game. Here in OT, the Colts punted. The Packers have the ball. First down and 10 from the 47. It's going to be a completion out to Musgrave, and he's going to get out at the 39-yard line. Second down and 2 for the 39. Handoff. Josh Jacobs powering forward for a first down. They are well into field goal range now. They could just kick a field goal to win it. But they might elect to try for a touchdown. I don't know. First down and 10 from the 33. It's going to be a handoff. Josh Jacobs. Jacobs at the middle all the way down for a gain of 10. They're going to rule it second down in inches from 23. Ritter throwing, and he's going to have a completion to Christian Watson out of bounds at the 20-yard line. Second down and 10 for the 20. Ritter hands it off to Josh Jacobs. Jacobs powering forward, breaking a tackle, gain of 5. Third down and 5 from the 15. And here on third down and 5 from the 15, 10 minutes, 21 seconds left on the clock. Here in OT, Ritter throwing to Josh Jacobs, and Jacobs is going to have the first down and goal from the 7-yard line. Second down and goal from the 6. Touchdown ends the game. Ritter looking, throwing, and he's going to have a touchdown to the tight end, Musgrave, and the Green Bay Packers are World Series champions. And that is it. The World Series is over. The Green Bay Packers have won. Champions of the whole entire NFL, MLB, whatever you want to call it. Luke Musgrave on that touchdown seals the deal, and the Packers have done it. And here is your celebration as Desmond Ritter beats Riley Leonard in the battle of the QB3s. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. The Green Bay Packers. Everyone on the defense there saying, ring me up. That is it. The Green Bay Packers are the champions of the World Series. And your World Series MVP is going to be Josh Jacobs. And that is it for this video. Let me know what you guys thought of this video. I thought it was a very fun one to make. A lot more fun than the NBA one, honestly. Although they didn't have an in-season tournament, I still had fun with this. So I hope you guys did enjoy this one. And I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.